Alrighty guys, and welcome back to this week looking at the shrine, and I can already tell you, it's definitely a shrine. Okay, we got 4 perks here. We got Agitation, which is a teachable unlocked by Trapper at level 40. He unlocks at level 35 Brutal Strength, and at level 30 he unlocks Unnerving Presence. Next perk is called Prove Thyself. Prove Thyself is a teachable unlocked by Dwight. It is unlocked at level 40, at level 35 is Leader, and at level 30 is Bond. Metal a Man. Ashley perk. Let's just move straight on. And we got Beast of Prey. Beast of Prey is a level 30 teachable perk unlocked from the Huntress. So if I was playing Dead by Daylight and I had enough shards to be able to buy something out of the shrine, I would buy nothing. Okay, the only perk here I think is worth buying, if I'm going to tell you the truth, would be Prove Thyself. My favorite perk out of all of these is Agitation. Now let me explain what Agitation does. Basically, it increases how quickly you're traveling with a survivor, both 6, 12, and 18%. I love Agitation. It's my personal favorite out of all this, but if you are new to the game, I would highly not recommend getting it because you're going to spend a lot less time carrying a survivor than you are hunting and looking for survivors, okay? Travel speed with a survivor is 94, 96% movement speed. Traveling with Agitation tier 3 plus 18% puts your killer on 108% movement speed. A lot of people think it puts you on 118. No, it makes you 108. So therefore it enhances a nurse's base movement speed and it makes the Huntress 2% slower than her base movement speed. Very powerful perk if you're doing hook trading. So works really good on a killer with a lethal or a way to catch a survivor very fast, such as the Hillbilly. Hillbilly chainsaws across the board, down somebody, picks them up, hooks them, barbecue and chili and pop, right across the board, does the same thing again. Works hand in hand perfectly with Hangman's trick, so you can recycle already used already used hooks that have been sacrificed. It will save a little bit of time, but what are you sacrificing for Agitation? You'd be sacrificing a really high, powerful perk in your opinion. So let's think. Your Agitation, you're running, I don't know, maybe Ruin, Pop, Barbecue. You could replace Agitation with Enduring. Now you don't respect any pallets and you go through everything. You should be doing that 9 out of 10 times anyways, but it's going to speed up the process. So you see, the time you're saving from Agitation travel speed, you would have saved in Chase by eating pallets quicker, breaking pallets quicker, sealing a window with bamboozle. There's other options into incorporating it into your build. I like Agitation on a killer that doesn't have to follow the rules of the game, such as a Nurse. Nurse can blink through anything. I used to run Agitation, Devour Hope, Pop, and Barbecue and Chili. Recently I've changed my build to incorporate I'm All Ears and Discordance, but that is still a very solid option. I do like Agitation, goes good with Mad Grit and Iron Grass, allows you to carry them for longer and swing as many times as you like while the animation is happening. Would I recommend buying it? No, I'd recommend leveling up the Trapper. He's a fun killer and he comes with a couple of good teachables. Good basic killer for Dead by Daylight players that are new to the game, and he can also be very scary mid to late game, depending on where you prep the board. My least favorite killer to verse out of all the 18 killers in DBD right now would be the Trapper, as I find him the hardest to loop because I don't know where he has pressure throughout the board. Everybody else still follows majority principles of the game. Block their line of sight, get to a jungle gym. You can outplay the vast majority of players. Moving on to the next perk, we have Prove Thyself. Now, Prove Thyself allows you to work on a generator and your teammate working on the generator, or your teammates remove the penalty. Now, let's talk about generators real quick. If the killer has Ruin and you have no physical enhancements while working on a generator, it'll take 80 seconds to do a generator if you're landing every grade against Ruin. Having one other person on that, you'll see the little red arrow above the generator progress bar. Little red arrow. That means negative diminishing returns. Okay, 2 people on a generator receives 10% diminishing returns. 3 people on a Jenny receives 20% diminishing returns. 4 people on a Jenny, the Jenny receives 30% diminishing returns. Even though Jennies are getting done at a steady and increased rate, the diminishing returns are there to stop you from being able to solidly gen rush a killer. Okay, that is why Prove Thyself does not stack. If I have Prove Thyself on a generator, Jeff has Prove Thyself on a generator, we do not get 10% faster work. Okay, we only get the 10% countering the diminishing returns. So in basic talking, that means you would think we get 20%? No, it only works for 1 player. So if all 4 players have Prove Thyself, you don't get any value out of it. However, 10% of a generator is 8 seconds if you were on it by itself, so with the brown toolbox. If 2 people are on a generator, instead of it taking 45 seconds, it'll take 40 seconds, because therefore that is the 10% you're looking for. You will not have a negative arrow or penalty unless the killer debuffs you. Freddy Krueger's sleep with swinging chains, Thanophobia, dying light, unless there's a form of negative impact on you. That being said, if we're going to be looking into it a little more, Prove Thyself goes hand in hand with a new perk coming into the game with Nancy. Nancy is another survivor who came in with Steve Harrington alongside the Demogorgon. Now, the perk that she has is called Better Together. Better Together allows you to work on a generator. The generator will glow as if the killer would be able to see it with Discordance, but the killer can't see it, obviously. So it glows a nice yellowy green color, a really limey, tangy color. And it's very obvious for teammates to see, okay? Any teammate within 32 meters will see the generator being worked on, therefore they will know you are working on the generator. If you're stacking Better Together and Prove Thyself, a teammate is more likely to come over and work with you on the Jenny, therefore you're getting maximum value out of Prove Thyself. An older version of doing that build would be Prove Thyself and Bond. This way, people know where you are. Somebody needs a heal, they can come to you. It also has a benefit based on if a killer completes a generator. But that being said, it is not in here right now. Prove Thyself does go hand in hand with it. I would love to recommend unlocking this perk, however, it is in the basic default game, and because it's in the basic default game, I cannot recommend unlocking it. I would recommend leveling up Dwight, because he has 3 decent teachables, even including Leader under the right circumstances. However, we're going to move on to the next perk. The next perk is called Beast of Prey. Now, Beast of Prey is an interesting perk. It is a Huntress teachable, and it is unlocked at level 30. Basically, while you are in chase with the killer, or while the killer is in chase with you, after 15 seconds has passed, your red stain in front of you will disappear, and it is gone until Bloodlust reset, I believe. So basically, grants the undetectable status effect and when you're in Bloodlust 1. So what does Bloodlust do? Bloodlust allows you to move 5% faster. So a Huntress moves at 110% movement speed. Let's not talk about her. Let's talk about the Trapper. Trapper moves at 115% movement speed. If I had Bloodlust on the Trapper, now how do I get Bloodlust? I need to initiate a chase with a survivor and keep relatively good line of sight for 15 seconds. Now I move at 120% movement speed. Unless I break a pallet, I end chase, or I hit a survivor. Then Bloodlust resets. Every 15 seconds after Bloodlust 1, you will get Bloodlust 2 and Bloodlust 3. Bloodlust 2 has diminishing returns. Instead of it giving you 5% faster, it gives you 2.5, and then Bloodlust 3 gives you 2.5. So Bloodlust 3 will be built up after 45 seconds of not hitting a survivor and having chase. You should never get to that period of time, or breaking a pallet, and that'll give a killer 125% movement speed of a basic 115% movement speed killer. Okay, does stack with things like play with your food. Beast of Prey rewards you for not hitting a survivor or breaking a pallet. I do not like this perk. I think this is a very bad perk. If you are getting Bloodlust and not hitting a survivor straight away or breaking a pallet, you are really forfeiting your chase. You are losing out heavy. Okay, there are certain circumstances where, yes, go for the Bloodlust hit. Is he looping you at a car in the middle of Hattonfield's house? Easy Bloodlust hit. Half the new loops on the temple? Easy Bloodlust hit. There's a lot of easy hits you can get with Bloodlust 1 just like that. However, for the vast majority, you should be hitting him or breaking the pallet or both and then leaving to get pressure throughout the board, or you're susceptible to getting gen rushed by survivors depending on whether you have Ruin, depending on the map, depending on your heartbeat. A lot of factors be brought into the equation. Would I recommend buying this? Shit, no. On my other account, I haven't even unlocked this perk because of how bad it is. The only way you make Beast of Prey work is if you entwine it with a perk called Nemesis, which is a new perk coming out with the new killer in Dead by Daylight. If you entwine both of those perks with Play With Your Food on Legion, the weakest killer in Dead by Daylight. That being said, Legion is the 18th weakest killer. That you can kind of redo the build. Now, if you don't know what Nemesis does, I've made a video about that explaining it all, and you guys can click on that. I'm sure it'll be floating around somewhere, maybe on this screen, maybe not. That being said, it'll be able to show you what that perk does. However, we're going to have a little look down at the 4th and final perk, and it's not a good one. We're currently looking at a perk called Metal a Man. This used to be the meta. This used to be one of the strongest perks in Dead by Daylight, and it got nerfed into the ground. Behavior knew everyone was using it. It was very difficult to play killer when somebody had Metal a Man. It was OP, and then they just absolutely drilled into this perk, and now this perk is what I refer to as a dud. Okay, basically, after earning 3 protection hits, this perk activates. First of all, holy shit. You can only get a protection hit if you body block a hit from a teammate who is injured. Okay, that is the only way you're going to get a protection hit. That being said, that's rough. So you have to do that 3 times and then this perk activates. What does it allow happen? When you are going to go into dying state from a hit, you now get to take another hit. Yeah, that sounds great. Yes, it works against lethals like chainsaws, instant down, Michael Myers. It works against all that shit. It even works against Rancor. However, taking 3 protection hits in one game, first of all, 3 of your teammates need to be hooked or hit, and you need to run and take a hit, run away, heal, run and take a hit, run away, heal, run and take a hit, run away, heal, for it to activate. When in that period of time, you could have done 3 or 4 generators yourself. It takes far too long to activate. It is very, very difficult to be able to use efficiently and effectively. You will get it to work maybe 1 in 5 games, and once you finish healing, the killer can permanently see you and you can't see the killer. That's the negative effect. So first of all, it takes you 3 years. I've heard myths about people getting this perk to actually work. It doesn't work. Like, it's very, very difficult to be able to pull off. I would highly recommend avoiding this perk. Do not unlock it. This is the last thing you want to see in your shrine. I would rather be running Deja Vu. I'd rather be running Kindred. Bitter Murmur. Not Bitter Murmur, that's a killer perk. I'd rather be running all these not great... Slippery Meat. You heard me. I'd rather be running Slippery Meat than Metal of Man. It is not a great perk. I can say dodge it like you... It is awful. Okay, if you guys want to know more about the shrine, by all means, feel free to pop over to the live stream. I'll walk you through it all. Unfortunately, I cannot recommend many things to buy out of this week's shrine. I say save your shards, save your shards, save your shards, and save your shards. Unlocked in base game, these 3 perks. This is the only DLC perk. Therefore... save it for next week when maybe you get something cute. If you are going to buy it, make sure you buy it for the blood points. Alrighty guys, that's going to be all for this week's shrine. I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully with a better shrine next week. Take care, God bless, and be safe.